The storm had not just torn through the colony, it had humiliated it. Roofs ripped away, walls split like paper, and half the food stores scattered into dust. Survivors stumbled across the wreckage in silence, like ghosts pretending to breathe. And there, sitting alone on the broken hull of a transport crate, was Jonah. His hands were raw, blistered from moving beams all morning, his back screaming from days without rest. He had left Earth dreaming of a better life, but all he had found on Cthros was dust, ruin, and a gnawing loneliness that felt heavier than hunger. No wife, no children, no legacy. On this brutal planet, that wasn't just sadness. It was a death sentence. Jonah was still staring into the horizon when her shadow swallowed him whole. He looked up and froze. She was colossal, nearly 3 meters tall, with shoulders broad enough to carry stone beams alone. Her skin shimmered silver, like moonlight caught in steel. 2 great horns swept back from her brow, carved like ancient weapons. Her eyes glowed amber, molten and alive. She wasn't just any alien. She was Vera, a widow of the Karath, the warrior giants of this world. Jonah's pulse spiked. He had heard stories of Karath widows. They were survivors, warriors who carried entire clans on their backs after losing husbands and sons in battle. To meet one alone, face to face, was like staring at a mountain that had decided to notice you. "Human," she said. Her voice wasn't cruel, but it was low, resonant, like stone grinding against stone. "You are Jonah." He swallowed. "That's me." "And you are Vera," he said, remembering what little he knew. "Widow of Clan Tar." Her amber eyes flicked toward the shattered shelters. "My mate fell in the last defense of this colony. My son's with him. I remain." Jonah's chest tightened. He had no idea what to say to that. What words could soften a truth like hers? But Vera wasn't searching for comfort. She turned her gaze back on him, steady and unflinching. "I have watched you," she said. "You endure hunger. You endure loneliness. But you do not yield." Jonah gave a bitter laugh. "Not much choice, is there?" "There is always choice." She stepped closer, her shadow now wrapping him like a cloak. Then, without hesitation, she spoke words that would change everything. "I need a husband, and you need strong offspring." Jonah blinked, certain he had misheard. His mind scrambled to catch up, but the words had been clear. "Wait, you mean me and you?" "Yes." Her tone didn't waver. To her, this wasn't a suggestion. It was fact, as practical as discussing tools or rations. "My clan is gone. If I am to survive, I must rebuild it. You are human, small, weaker than us, but you have fire, determination. That is what I require in a mate." Jonah's mouth went dry. He wanted to laugh, maybe run. But another part of him, buried deep under layers of loneliness, ached at the truth of her words. Alone, he had nothing. With her, maybe everything. He shook his head slowly. "That's not exactly the kind of proposal I'm used to." Vera tilted her head. The movement made the light catch her horns like blades. "It is not a proposal, it is truth. You believe you have no kin, no claim, no purpose. With me, you will have all 3. Together, we will forge strength." Her eyes didn't waver. Jonah's heartbeat thundered in his ears. He wanted to argue, to say it was madness, but the words tangled in his throat. For the first time since arriving on this unforgiving planet, someone saw him as more than a weak, stranded outsider. Someone saw him as necessary. And in that moment, the seed of something dangerous, and maybe miraculous, took root. Jonah woke to the chill of dawn, but Vera wasn't beside the fire. He found her standing on a ridge, horns catching the pale light, her gaze fixed on the horizon. Her jaw was tight, her shoulders set like stone. "What's wrong?" Jonah asked. Her voice was steady, but her eyes were hard. "A challenge has been issued." The words dropped like a blade between them. "In my people's way," she explained slowly. "A widow who takes a new mate must prove the bond is strong. Another Karath male has come. He claims I dishonor my clan by binding to a human. He demands combat." Jonah's stomach clenched. He felt cold all over. Combat? Against him? Vera, he'll kill me. Her amber eyes turned on him, fierce and unshakable. He will try, but strength is not only in muscle. You have cunning. You have fire. Together, we can prevail. Everything inside Jonah screamed at the madness of it. He wanted to run, to shout that he was only human, not a warrior. But when he saw the trust in her eyes, real unwavering belief, something in him hardened. Then we fight, he said. The arena was nothing more than a ring of stones, yet the entire colony gathered to watch. The challenger stood within it, massive, even taller than Vera, clad in armor that gleamed with cruel pride. He sneered as Jonah stepped forward. This is your mate? This fragile creature? Widow, you shame your blood. Vera's horns flared. Judge us by strength, not appearances. The crowd roared its approval. The fight began. The challenger struck first, swinging a blade large enough to cleave a tree in two. Jonah barely rolled aside in time, dirt scraping his face. Vera met the next strike with her own weapon, the clash ringing like thunder. Sparks sprayed. Dust rose. Jonah knew he couldn't match brute force. He fought differently, darting in, cutting straps, loosening buckles on the challenger's armor, throwing sand into his eyes. Every distraction he made, Vera seized with crushing power. The crowd gasped as Vera's fist broke through the challenger's guard. The giant staggered but recovered, snarling. Then came the final strike. The challenger raised his blade high, ready to bring it down on Vera with killing force. Now, Jonah shouted. He drove a broken spear into the ground, angled like a trap. The challenger's foot slammed down on it, stumbling. In that heartbeat of imbalance, Vera's fist smashed into his chest with the force of an avalanche. The challenger flew backward, crashing into the dust. Silence fell. Then the colony erupted in cheers. The challenger lay defeated, gasping for air, his pride broken. Vera stood over him, her chest heaving, eyes blazing. She turned to Jonah, and for the first time in her life, pride burned brighter than grief. You see, she said, her voice carrying across the crowd. Muscle and mind, together, unbreakable. Jonah, shaking with exhaustion, still found a grin. Guess we make a good team. From that day forward, no one questioned their bond. Seasons passed. Where ruins had once smoldered, the colony grew strong. Crops thrived. Walls held firm. Raiders kept their distance. And within that settlement, laughter returned. Children ran between the rebuilt homes, their frames sturdy, their eyes bright, half human, half Karath. They carried both legacies in their bones. They sparred with sticks, chased one another across the plains, their joy echoing into the sky. One evening, Jonah watched them play as the sun dipped low, painting the horizon gold. Vera stood beside him, her massive hand resting gently against his. You gave me back a clan, she murmured, her voice soft in a way few ever heard. Jonah turned to her, his chest swelling. And you gave me a family. In that twilight, surrounded by the life they had built, Jonah realized the truth. She had been right from the beginning. He had been a man with nothing. She had been a widow with no future. But together they had forged both. Her words from that first day echoed in his mind, not as a command anymore, but as destiny fulfilled. I need a husband, and you need strong offspring. And she had been right, more right than either of them had ever imagined.